The NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100 and get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. We're also brought to you by the SGPN Thanksgiving free roll. Everyone who hits a football bingo in our contest will win $100 cash and $100 gift card to the SGPN store exclusively on the SGPN app.
I'm just about that action, boss.
You have to be kidding me. That is impossible.
I'm raising the ante. Anybody wants it, do it.
Jordan Davis, dog. Jalen Hurts, dog. AJ Brown, dog. How many of you want to eat a W tonight?
It is the NFL Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He is Ryan McIntyre. I am Rod Villagomez. It is Monday, and that means we are taking a look back at the weekend that was in the NFL, wrapping up Week 11. And, of course, our favorite part, as always, is looking ahead to your Week 13 lines. Because, again, anybody can look a week ahead. Ryan, we love to give everybody the very, very far future forecast.
Yes, we do. And we've been very successful for these first, 11 weeks doing so. Victory Monday again for me. So feeling myself a little bit again. Actually, 2 victory Mondays because we recorded right before that Monday Night Football victory last Monday. But another good weekend in the NFL in the books. Ready to recap it with you, man.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't get a chance to go over your last one as well because Washington did end up winning. That's 2 in a row. Ryan, that is what they call in the business a winning streak. How does it feel?
5 out of 6, baby. The Heinekes are rolling.
I love the underdog story. I love spring football and when spring football works. And Taylor Heineke is definitely just one of those fun success stories from spring football. And watching him actually win and have a little bit of fun. I know you're enjoying it, so the rest of us are.
Shout out to the chat. Moonoff has made an appearance. He throwing some emojis in there right now, Rod.
I need to pull those up. I'm too busy hosting Moonoff. I don't know what's going on in this. And thankfully, Moonoff, if you guys aren't listening to the Propcast, please do so. Moonoff killed it this last week. I was a George Pickens touchdown drop away from hitting my anytime touchdown prop, and a couple of other ones kind of blew up in flames. So, Ryan, don't be surprised if you get tapped on the shoulder on Wednesday to go co-host the Propcast because Moonoff is kicking me out.
Hey, I'm always down to be the utility man. Whenever you need me, I'm more than happy to fill in.
All right. So again, as it is, we do take a look back at the week that was in the NFL. We break down the lines and just the storylines and how they covered and how they did and sort of translate that into what you can expect going forward. And then, of course, like I said, we take a look at the Week 13 lines. If you are new to this show, first of all, thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging with us. This NFL Gambling Podcast has gotten some serious traction, and it's been so much fun to be along for this ride and just being able to contribute here. I know our show isn't necessarily as betting heavy as the rest, but I do think that we give you some good insight. And then, of course, like we said, it's valuable looking ahead at those lines to grab where you can. I know, Ryan, you said that this is something you've never done before, and so far, man, through like 11 weeks, it's been very educational.
Yeah, and if you're doing so, your units for the unit police out there that loves tracking how many units you're up and down, you definitely are in the positive because you're picking up value where it's not going to be if you're waiting until game time to bet. You're getting a touchdown, sometimes even 10 points of value on certain lines at 2-3 weeks in advance. And I mean, you can even hedge it at times too, where you can really hit a nice middle number. So yeah, been very profitable through these first 11 weeks and looking forward to week number 13. Now it gets tricky because college football is always 1 week ahead of the NFL. So like you keep forgetting which week we're currently in, and then we're looking ahead. So yeah, and while recapping week 11. So sorry, I kind of rambled there, but yeah, you get the point.
Hey, listen, CFL season just wrapped up for me. So week 19, week 20, week 21. I mean, that doesn't exist in the NFL. So
No doubt.
I'm just there. All right, let's get to the main event, Ryan, because that is why people are here. Let's take a look back at this last weekend. Of course, this last weekend started on Thursday night with a game between the Tennessee Titans and the how the mighty have fallen Green Bay Packers. Tennessee winning in this one 27-17. The Titans were 3.5-point underdogs somewhere along the lines. 2.5 points is where they were as well. Remember, I'm getting all of these from our friends at oddstrader.com as we look down the line and break it all down. But again, Tennessee coming out on top as they were the underdogs in this to the Green Bay Packers. Look, all I'm going to say is this. We talk about this every single week because it seems to be the same story with Aaron Rodgers. 24-39, 227, 2 touchdowns. Not a bad day for a quarterback, right? But Aaron Jones, 12 carries for 40 yards. Like, that's not going to get job done. The ghost of Randall Cobb caught 6 of his targets for 73 yards as well. But Aaron Rodgers does not look like he's having fun at all. And this team is about a good reflection as that as you can ever get.
Yeah, this one kind of felt like the end. We keep hinting that the end's coming near with these Packers, but for to drop to 4-7, they were coming off the big win against Dallas the previous week. They needed to get this one to get back to 5-6, especially with having the Eagles on deck, where they got to go to Philly this upcoming week. But you mentioned it, Rodgers statistically okay, I guess, 24-39 for 227 and 2 touchdowns, but if he's not playing at an elite level, this team just isn't very good. The defense, once again, disappoints, giving up 27 points to a limited Tennessee offense.
A limited Tennessee offense, and not even having Derrick Henry have one of his biggest days of the season. I mean, this is where, Munaf, shout out to you in the chat, but you know, we projected Derrick Henry to have at least 100 yards, if not more, because it's Derrick Henry and he does bad things to teams. But Derrick Henry, 28 carries, great, right? You would think 28 carries, 150, 160 yards, 87 yards. His longest rush of the day was 9 yards. He did get in the end zone, but again, this was not the dominant. If you were to tell me that Tennessee was to score 27 points, I'd tell you Derrick Henry had 400 yards at this point, right? Because we know that Tannehill's not necessarily the most prolific passer that is, but he actually looked good in this game. 22 of 27, 333 yards and 2 touchdowns. Treylon Burks, the vast majority of those 7 catches, 111 yards. So really, here's the thing. Tennessee now 7-3. AFC South got to be theirs at this point, right? Green Bay Packers 4-7, searching for answers. But Tennessee, Ryan, they're on a roll, man. Yeah,
no, Tennessee, I mean, they're the best team in the league so far covering the spread. So for us at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, this has been one of our darlings. Tennessee 8-2 against the spread. They just find ways under Mike Vrabel to win games, even if it's not pretty. Honestly, it's never pretty with Mike Vrabel, and that's why this team just continues to win. And Tannehill had one of his better games, like you said, 22 of 27 for over 300 yards. So shout out to Tannehill, even in the cold Lambeau Field elements.
Yeah. Well, and so here's the thing, too. When you look at what Tennessee's done so far, I mean, they only lost to Kansas City within the last, 2 months now. So it's just been such a fantastic run for the Titans. And really, I think flying under the radar because besides Derrick Henry, there's not a lot sexy about Tennessee. So can't really say that everybody's like touting them big time week in and week out. So yeah, over under on this one was about 40. Again, not everybody was giving Tennessee credit to be able to score a lot of points. So this one obviously hit over. Right, because 27 plus 17 carry the one. That's 44 points in there. 34 points. What is that? Yeah, 44.
Yeah, you're
right. Hey Alexa. Sorry,
mathematics.
27 plus 17. So, anyways, the overhit on that one as well. But yeah, I mean, going forward, man, this Green Bay team, I think the panic flags are out at this point. I think as you start looking forward, in fact, maybe when we look forward to week 13 to see which lines are out there for Green Bay. you might find some value, especially if they're still considered the favorites in that game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know how to handicap this Green Bay team going forward. I I think they're done. I think it's as simple as that. I don't see this team being a playoff team. I know that there's still 6 weeks left, and they almost have to run the table.
Yeah. How you handicap them, Ryan? You don't.
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
let's move on to Carolina taking on the Baltimore Ravens. You want to talk about not wanting to handicap anything? This is not only a game, but two teams I just want to stay away from for the rest of the season. Baltimore, 10 points in the fourth quarter, but before that, 6 points total in the game heading into the fourth quarter. Baltimore does win 13-3, but they were 12.5-point favorites in some spots around the league. So if you were a Baltimore minus 12.5, oh, you hate your life right now. You really
No
hate
doubt. Yeah, no, and the safe bet was the under here. I mean, this game, it was nowhere near to ever threatening the over. Baker Mayfield comes back and looks like Baker Mayfield, honestly. Not good. 21-33 for under 200 yards, 2 interceptions. The Panthers are weird, man. It looked like they caught a little bit of lightning in the bottle when they had PJ Ranger Walker going there for a couple of weeks, but now all of a sudden he goes out with an ankle injury and Baker's back, and they look like the old Panthers with Baker and Sam Darnold again.
Yeah. I mean, it's frustrating because, I mean, obviously we know that the Browns gave him the keys to the entire stadium, right? Because that was his house. But obviously Carolina, they have not done the same. And honestly, I don't know that they should do the same because he doesn't look like he's winning any games anytime soon. And that whole team, again, it's just a race to the bottom at this point. Now they're 3-8. Baltimore, they're 7-3. But if there's ever a suspect 7-3, I think we might have found it because they should have easily put away Carolina.
Yeah, no, the Ravens are a weird team. They were coming off the bye, they were coming off the bye after beating New Orleans a week prior to that on Monday night. So, I mean, they should have been well rested, but they just came out sluggish, went through the motions. Lamar, okay on the day, throwing the ball, throws for over 200 yards, but he had an interception as well. He only had 30 yards on the rushing attack. I mean, the Ravens are in first, but they didn't look like the vintage Ravens. They go to Jacksonville from here, so it wasn't even really a look-ahead spot to a potential division game, too.
And look, if they play like this against Jacksonville, I look, we like to make fun of Jacksonville. We like to really take shots at them, but they're not as bad a team, I think, in my opinion, as the Panthers are. Yeah, they're bad. They're not good. But I think if the Baltimore Ravens play against the Jaguars the way they played against the Panthers, they're not winning that game. There's no way that they can hold that serve for 4 quarters against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who would smell blood in the water if Baltimore was only able to put up 3 points against them up until the last 15 minutes.
No, I completely agree. Baltimore's got to play a lot better, especially if they have aspirations of making a run in January in the AFC that has Kansas City and Buffalo, Miami, and other teams that are rolling right now.
Well,
it's Cincinnati.
And not for nothing, though, this running game, right? The Ravens pride themselves on the running game, right? But Kenyon Drake, their leading rusher, 10 carries, 46 yards. Most of that came on 1 carry, a 29-yard carry. So, again, if you're going to pride yourself and have the identity of being a run-first team, you probably should run.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I'm with you there, Rod. They not a good performance, but hey, ugly wins over pretty L's any day of the week.
Hey, they don't ask how, they just ask how many. We've heard that time and time again. You said the under was safe, not even close. 41.5 was the over-under on this one. Walloping 16 points were put on the board in this game. So
yeah, they could have played that twice. That wasn't hitting.
No, not even. Yeah, they could have taken a break, come back, and played a second encore performance, and still not done the same thing. So, all right. Well, look, going forward, we just talked about it. Baltimore's got to do better. Carolina, just call it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just call a mid-season mulligan and maybe try again. But yeah, these guys are hurting in every way possible. So, all right, let's just move on because there was another. It was an actual more exciting game that was next on the slate as the Philadelphia Eagles. Wow. Can I just say wow? For what? 3.5 quarters, for 3 quarters, this thing was looking like the Indianapolis Colts may actually steal a win against the Philadelphia Eagles, but those crafty Eagles, 14 points in the fourth quarter to 3 points for Indy in the fourth. They come away with the 17-16 win in Indianapolis to advance to 9-1. Indy now 4-6-1, but more importantly, Indianapolis covers their 6-point spread, 6.5-point spread, depending on where you found it, even 8.5 in some places. So if you're an Indianapolis better to cover, you were pretty happy yesterday.
Yeah, and Indianapolis had no business losing this game. The Eagles stole this right from them at the end. Disappointing for the Colts. I mean, you lead literally the whole entire game. Kind of reminded me of when they blew the lead against Washington a couple weeks ago, where they dominate the game and they blow a 9-point lead late in the fourth quarter. And I mean, for the Eagles are really banged up right now. I think that it's they're going in the wrong direction. I know they found a way to win the game, but clearly over the last couple weeks they've been exposed with their running defense, with the big fella Davis being out multiple weeks. So the Eagles got to just get healthy. I know Goddard's out on the offensive side as well. And the Eagles, but they found a way to win. So I mean that does say something, that even on your best or not your best day, you do find a way to win.
Jeff Saturday almost picked up his second win.
I know.
As the head coach. Could you imagine?
I know.
Dude's like, this wasn't that hard. Why is everybody saying this is hard? We almost beat, and if they would have beaten the Eagles, he'd have been like, why? Why is everybody saying this is so hard?
Yeah, no, and Matt Ryan was okay again. I mean, 23-32 for 215. He didn't turn it over. Jonathan Taylor had a good day on the ground. He had a big run called back on a hold that I thought was questionable. But I mean, tough blow for the Colts losing that game.
I hate holding calls.
Me too.
Holding calls. Like half the time you go back and you look and you're like, yeah, okay. But then it's like, even still, you see that on 16 other plays that you haven't called. Why this one? What, were you just finally looking in the right direction at this point?
Yeah, no, it's hit or miss with these holding calls. Officiating has not been good this year. I think we can all agree on that.
There's been some problems. Problems in the Jalen Hurts camp, though, too, really. 18 of 25, 190 yards passing and a touchdown. But he was the leading rusher in this game, 16 for 86. And I say problems because, again, Philadelphia likes to pride itself on being a run game, right? Miles Sanders and why am I forgetting their second running back? I'm seeing his number. I'm seeing number 14. Anyways.
Boston Scott?
No, not Boston Scott, but Boston Scott's good. I'm fired, though. Sean's going to fire me at school for not remembering his other running back. But anyways, again, your quarterback is your leading rusher. And I've always said that that's never a recipe for extended success. You can find success in that, but I don't think that they can continue to do that if they want to win ball games. Because again, you put more wear and tear on that quarterback, you may not have him very much longer.
Yeah, no doubt. Hurts, I mean, he is taking a bunch of shots, and they are struggling to protect for him right now.
So I will say this. I think Indy may end up being more competitive down the line now that Jeff Saturday is at head coach. It just seems to me like they're a more feisty team at this point. I don't know if it was just what Saturday's saying in the locker room or anything like that, but I just feel like we may have to stop counting them completely out of games now.
Agreed. Yeah, no, the Colts have shown a little bit of life these last couple of weeks, especially going back to Matt Ryan from Sam Ehlinger. So, I mean, I'm sure Frank Reich's like, why was I forced to play Sam Ehlinger and Jeff Saturday gets to play Matt Ryan?
Why does my brother get to drive the nice car and I got to drive the Pinto? What's going on? All right, you know what? I know you're looking at the chops to get to this next game. Let's step away for a break real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll get all up on your Victory Monday, shall we?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's pay some bills. You ready to win money and boost your odds? WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. We're bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. You get exclusive rewards right at your fingertips with Wynn Rewards on WynnBET. Be on the lookout, too, for WinBet's Win Hour each Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. During that WinBet Win Hour, marquee games of the week will have better odds on WinBet, giving you a larger payout opportunity. Great promos, odds, payouts happening right now at WinBet. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, WinBet has what you need to win. You ready to play? Sign up today. You're going to get a special offer. Bet $100, win $100. So much to choose from, and all you got to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet so they know that we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WINNBET to claim your free bets now. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older. Opposing state playing through WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right. It is Victory Monday for you. Hail to the Commanders as they take down the Houston Texans 23-10. Washington now above 500, 6-5. Houston well below 500, 1-8-1. Ryan, I give you the floor. Tell us about those Commanders.
I mean, this was impressive. I've expected a letdown in terms of I thought this was going to be a game. Houston's been kind of feisty at home. But, I mean, Washington just punched Houston right in the mouth and took the life out of him. They hold Damian Pierce, who has run literally on everybody this season, to 10 carries for just 8 yards. I mean, I know this is the Houston Texans, but Damian Pierce has literally run on everybody this year. The Eagles, the Giants, the Chargers, even the Broncos. So, I mean, Davis Mills struggled again. He's not the answer in Houston. He'll be a backup come next year. Heineke just made enough plays to keep it going, but the real storyline coming out of Houston is this Washington defense is for real with John Allen, Jerome Payne, and Montez Sweat. And it looks like they're going to get number 99, Chase Young, back here soon.
That is scary, my friend.
Yeah.
When he comes back, that is absolutely scary because they've been doing this well without him. Oh, boy.
No, if I'm one of those premier NFC teams, the Eagles, the Vikings, Cowboys, Niners, I would not want to play this Washington team with how physical they are with their front four on the defensive side. Now they're running the ball with Robinson and Gibson. They're just a pain in the ass to play against, I think.
Oh, 100%. And look, when you're out gaining your opponent 344 to 148, yeah, I mean, it's easy to see why the win, first of all, was there and why it was a 13-point win, which Washington covered their 3-point spread as they were the 3-point favorites going into this game. So, yeah, I mean, look, honestly, Washington is scary right now. They are doing things to win games. And if you're an NFC team on the fringe, just like you said, you probably aren't wanting to rest your playoff hopes on a game against Washington.
Yeah, no, if my team can get in there as a 7 seed, if you're a 2 seed, you're like, oh my God, this is not the team I would want to play in the opening round with the way that they somehow just always rally around Heineke. And Ron Rivera has a track record of this where his teams are way better in November, December, and into January. For some reason, he struggles out of the gates, but give him credit as a coach. He makes the adjustments necessary to get his teams playing their best ball this time of year.
You got to think that they're playing with house money at this point, obviously. Yeah. I mean, it's just, nobody had any expectations for them whatsoever going into this season. Carson Wentz was under center and everybody was talking about how bad they were going to do, right? And now all of a sudden, here they are on the right side of 500, actually competing for a chance at the postseason. So, yeah, I mean, you got to feel good if you're a Washington Commanders fan. So, Ryan, do you feel good?
Oh yeah, no, I feel great. I think they're a legit playoff contender, and once you get in, anything can happen. Especially in this NFC, this is as wide open I can ever remember a conference.
Yeah, it feels like there's just so many things going on at this point that teams that, well, the Giants obviously hanging on to a pretty good record, even though they kind of fell over the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of wide open, especially with all the 4-4 teams or the 3-3 teams that were there a couple of weeks ago. So. Yeah. Logan Thomas actually turning in a good performance on my bench. 5 catches, 65 yards. Not necessarily a gigantic game, but still a pretty good game for a tight end.
Well, he only did good because he was on your bench. That's how that works, right?
Yeah, I definitely outscored. I don't even remember who I had now. I have him in one league that I know I sat him. I don't even remember who I had on starting in that league. But yeah, unfortunately, he did score better than the guy that was on my bench. But it doesn't matter. And the Commanders' defense, yeah, kind of ripped everybody to shreds if you started them. Did big things for the team. For Houston, like you said, Davis Mills probably just going to be a backup next year.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do now, short of just, I guess, wait and see if they get the first pick overall next year. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't see them not getting it. I'm looking at kind of potential candidates because I mean, all of a sudden the Lions went on a winning streak here where they're way out of the contention. Everybody in this league has at least 3 wins now with the Steelers, Broncos, Raiders, the Rams. I can't believe the Rams are in the 3-win category, and the Browns. And J Mark, the Bears. So the Texans seem to be the runaway number 1 pick come April.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they use it wisely. I don't follow. I mean, I know isn't CJ Stroud in this draft class coming up?
Yeah, Stroud, Young, and then Caleb Williams from USC. Oh, wait, no, he's next year, I think.
He might be next year. I think he was a junior in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
I don't know. This isn't an NCAA.
Nobody knows the rules anymore anyway. How about all the draft capital they got from the Browns getting rid of Deshaun Watson, and the Browns are only 2 games ahead of them. So the Texans are going to have some big picks coming up here. They've done a good job of unloading that.
Yeah, they have. All right, well, let's get off of that because I there's only so much I could talk about for the Houston Texans at this point.
That was me being glass half full for Houston.
But I can't even be half full anymore, man. I love your enthusiasm. I just feel like it's well placed or misplaced at this point.
All you have to do is ask Moonoff, and he'll give you the real rundown. He's not high on his Texans right now.
No, well, and he's not even in the chat anymore.
He knew the Texans game was coming up.
He was like, "I'm bouncing before we break this one down because I know Ryan's Victory Monday over my team."
No doubt.
Speaking of Victory Monday, the New England Patriots cooling off what could have been the red hot New York Jets. I don't know. We stopped making fun of them a few weeks ago, and maybe I don't know. Maybe this is the start of us doing it again. But New England coming in with a 10-3 win over the New York Jets. They were 2.5-point favorites, 3.5 in some spot. And if there was 3.5, you're still okay there. But I don't know, man. This seemed to be now when you used to talk about the Patriots and the Jets, it was always a lopsided Patriots victory, right? Because the Jets were the laughing stock. This wasn't it. Mac Jones and Zach Wilson does not have that appeal to me like a Tom Brady versus a Vinny Testaverde, right?
That shit was awful. There's no other way. I mean, Zach Wilson, my God, 9 of 22 for 77 yards. That's 3.5 yards per attempt. So that's not very good. And I mean, Mac Jones actually was efficient, I guess, in terms of 23 to 27 for 246, but they couldn't execute in the red zone. They couldn't finish drives. Just an ugly game. Neither team could run the ball on one another, but that was just such a New York Jets way to lose a game where they were right there to go to overtime, and then the Patriots can't score on them. So what do? They run back the punt.
It's just, I mean, I'm looking through, right? And people on the video right now, by the way, if you are listening to this podcast, know that we go live. Keep an eye on the NFL Gambling Podcast Twitter for the times that we actually do go live. But we're live as well as on tape. So, if you hear a couple of pauses, just know that we're staring at each other longingly into the camera as we talk. But I'll say this game alone had almost as many yards as Patrick Mahomes did passing total for the entire game. So if that tells you exactly what because this game had this game had 400 yards total, whereas Mahomes had about 330 passing. So by himself, if that gives you any indication on what you were in for, if you chose to watch, which I don't know why you would, New England versus New York.
Yeah, no. I can't put a thumb on how disappointing a loss this was for the Jets. They had a chance to bury the Patriots, their arch rival. They hadn't beat them in almost 14 times now. And to lose the way that they did, the fashion, the way they lost. I mean, oh man. And now you got drama in the headlines with Zach Wilson's answer, I guess, with the media. The defense is the problem. So nothing like New York drama.
Defense is the problem. Come on, son.
Yeah.
You barely threw for 77 yards, and then you were the leading rusher on your team. 3 carries, 26 yards. 14 of those were on 1 carry.
I know.
Defense is the problem?
Yeah.
Please. All right. We may be back to making fun of the Jets again. New England, you're not much better, so don't get on your high horse if you're a New England Patriots fan. Yes, you're both 6-4, but you're still very, very ugly doing it. All right, let's move on to a 4-6 team. I don't know if our we may get censored, so it depends on whether or not they allow us to talk about this game. Detroit Lions 31, New York Giants 18. Detroit now 4-6. The Giants are 7-3, and just I don't know, Ryan. I mean, look, Detroit came in as 3-point underdogs, obviously blew that wide out. But again, now we're talking about a New York Giants team we've been high on all season, but 2 out of 3 now they've dropped.
You know, I knew the Giants were screwed the moment that Terrell was complaining about their power ranking earlier in the week, 9 not being high enough. I was like, oh, the Giants are done. They're feeling themselves. So, yeah, no, the Giants, I mean, they've been a good story in terms of Dayball getting the most out of this unit with Daniel Jones. But they're really not that good a football team. Like all the stats point in that direction, but they have found a way to squeeze every little close game out in their favor. So I think some regression has been screaming that it's coming, and I think it's going to start now. They got Dallas on Thursday on Thanksgiving. They're so limited offensively at times.
Indeed. Well, and look, this is 3 straight now for the Lions. They came off of a very, very disappointing 5-game losing streak, and now here they are back on a winning way. They beat Green Bay, they beat Chicago, now they've beaten the Giants. So, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to climb back into contention, but you got to feel pretty good, I suppose, if you are a fan of the Detroit Lions as far as what they've done lately, because, I mean, they haven't lost in a few weeks, right? That's a good thing.
They have a better record than the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh, ouch. Jared Goff, though, 17-26, 165. Not necessarily the greatest day for him. 9 for 66 for Justin Jackson rushing. So, again, this was not a highly offensive game for the Lions. But, you know, what are you going to do? If you got to win games ugly sometimes, right?
No doubt. Yeah, no, 3 in a row for the Lions. They haven't done this in years, so I mean, take the wins any way you can get them.
So for the Giants, though, what are we doing with these guys? I mean, they're again 2 out of 3. It's not like they've dropped a ton in a row, but 2 out of 3 is starting to get a little scary if you're a Giants fan.
I'm fading them. Yeah, I'm not buying into the Giants in the second half. I think it's been a great story. Job well done by Dayball. But the schedule's about to get real. The Giants haven't played the Eagles yet. They haven't played Washington yet. With the way Washington's playing, Washington's a better team right now than the Giants. And they got to play the Cowboys again on Thanksgiving. So I definitely think some regression for these Giants.
Well, stop me if I sound like a broken record, but once again, Daniel Jones leading rusher for the team. You got Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones 7 for 50 and a touchdown. That's not a recipe for success if you're the Giants.
No, it's not going to get the job done.
Not even a little. So, all right, over under on this one. What was the over under on this one? Sorry, got.
It was
44.5. I
closed
it because I was moving on to the next game, but then I remembered I had to cover the over under. Yeah, 44.5, 45 in some places. So obviously you're over hit if you were an over better, which I don't know. Where did you lean on the over under on this one?
Probably the over, just because the Lions every now and then will have an offensive explosive game. They didn't really in this one. It was more the Giants turning the ball over and the Lions capitalizing. But usually I take the over or lean the overs in the Detroit games so far this year.
Well, somebody that is on the outside now looking in at his former team on a 3-game winning streak is Matthew Stafford, as his team now is not on a 3-game winning streak. In fact, they are quite the opposite now. They have lost 4 in a row, have the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. I say that with a little bit of I don't know, disdain because of my fandom. But yeah, they have lost 4 in a row, including this last one, 27-20 to the New Orleans Saints. 1.5-point favorites were New Orleans. Obviously, they covered that. But boy, I tell you, I don't know why that line was there, given what we just saw this last week.
I'll tell you what, man, the Rams are awful. It's hard to watch them. I mean, they're so limited offensively. They actually hit a big play earlier in the game when Stafford hooked up with Tutu Atwell, which I didn't even know he was on the team. So the Rams are banged up. No Cooper Kupp anytime soon. He was about their whole offense. So now that he's not there, they have no offense. So the Rams. I'm starting to wonder if the Rams are going to finish last in the NFC altogether by the end.
If the 49ers do not have to face them in the playoffs this season, then they're going to go. I mean, they're going to go and make a pretty deep run because for whatever reason, the Rams are the biggest bugaboo. Cooper Kupp always seems to get. Now, during the regular season, yeah, we got you. We got you easily. Yeah. But it feels like the postseason, Cooper Kupp just steps it up a notch. So,
yeah, I don't think you have to worry about them.
I'd like to hope not. I'm telling you right now, they are fading and fading fast. 3-7 are the Rams. 4-7 are the New Orleans Saints. But let's talk about the leading rusher for the New Orleans Saints. That is Taysom Hill.
I love it.
Taysom Hill, the leading rusher for the New Orleans Saints. 9 carries, 52 yards on the day. Andy Dalton, 21-25, 260, 3 touchdowns, though. First of all, if you're a fantasy manager of Alvin Kamara, I should probably, you give me your Venmo. I may end up giving you a $5 shot or something because
no doubt.
Yeah, your life is hating it right now.
Yeah, no. For New Orleans has been a weird team to handicap the whole year. They are so unpredictable as well. I know they got the win yesterday, but they didn't even look good doing so. It was more just the Rams being as bad as they were. Chris Olave has definitely been a bright spot for this New Orleans Saints in his rookie year, though.
Yeah, actually, this has been a lot of fun to watch. When you were watching these receivers get drafted, I don't know that Olave was the one that everybody was the most excited about, right? And yet it feels like to me, quietly, he's been the one more fun to watch.
No doubt. Yeah, no, he's definitely had the most production among the rookies.
Yeah, so a good landing spot for him. I guess Andy Dalton can make you look good, right? Ask
Red Rifle.
Yeah. Andy Dalton did throw to Ochocinco, right? Yeah, he did. Over there in Cincinnati. But yeah, so the Rams, bad. New Orleans, not as bad, still bad going forward. I don't know that I would like either one of those. I don't know that I feel comfortable betting on either one of those guys going forward at all anyways, unless it's against them, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not taking either of these teams. I keep saying the Saints may go on a run, but they're too all over the place for me.
Yeah. Define a run. One game. They're on a run. They're on a run.
They'll probably beat the Bucs when they play because they always beat the Bucs.
Always beat the Bucs.
Yes.
All right. Over under on this one was 39.5. Well eclipsed that one at 47 total points. All right. Let's move on to the Chicago Bears, who heartbreaking to the Atlanta Falcons, 27-24. They lost. Atlanta was 1.5 points, 2.5 points. I seen 3 out there point favorites. If you were 3 and you pushed, sorry. But if you were 2.5, you were pretty happy with the way that game ended. Yeah,
and J. Mark said if the Bears lost this one, they were done. So by his logic, they're done. Tough loss, man. I know Fields had another great day on the ground. They just can't. They keep finding ways to lose these games now. Back-to-back weeks. They should have got both of these, been right back in the thick of things, but another close loss. Finally, Atlanta got back into the cover mode again.
Yeah, they did. Thank goodness.
Yes.
We're back. We're back, baby. We're
Yep.
back to backing Atlanta. I think they were one of my teases. No, Chicago was my dog, so never mind. So they definitely did not win. Marcus Mariota, though, I had a prop on him to throw for more yards than Justin Fields. The bar was super low, 153 yards for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Come on, Mariota. On your worst day, you've done better than that. Well, this was even worse than his worst day. 131 for Mariota on passing.
Yeah, and well, now he's going to be without Kyle Pitts going forward, so we'll see how that impacts this Atlanta offense that's already limited.
Yep, Pitts 3 catches, 43 yards, and now no longer a factor. Tyler Algier, 8 carries, 55 yards. Cordell Patterson becoming less and less of a thing now in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sorry, I was getting our look ahead lines ready to go. I'm chopping at the bit. So, yeah, no, Patterson, he ran back the kick to get him back in the game when they were down 10. But yeah, no, Atlanta's another interesting team.
Yeah, well, interesting to say the least, right?
Yeah, yes.
I was trying to think of a way to come back that just no. I mean, they're interesting,
Yeah,
but from what standpoint? Like they're interesting because you want to like them, but at the same time, they're just not good enough to keep winning.
yeah. No, I agree with you there.
You know, I mean, they 5-6. They did win against Chicago, but Chicago's been struggling. So what are they going to do against a really good team? They're probably going to lose, right?
They got Washington next.
Ooh, well, then they're definitely not going to win that one. Washington's still on a roll.
Let's go.
All right, over-under on this one was 48.5. Obviously, that covered, given the 27-24, and it was covered over that. All right, let's move on to the Cleveland Browns. Wow, this one was a little bit more too close for comfort, and honestly, a lot less action-packed than I thought a game in the Dome was going to end up being. But if I were to tell you, well, first of all, Buffalo wins 31-23, thereby covering their 7.5-point spread in some places, as Cleveland was a 7.5-point underdog, 8.5 in other places. So if it was 8.5, you were not happy unless you took Cleveland in the points.
Yeah, no, this was a weird game. Cleveland kind of got off to a good start. Buffalo, I guess, a little bit of a sleepy spot in terms of all the distractions with just trying to get out of Buffalo even to play the game. And so it'll be interesting to see how they look this week against Detroit now that they're going to be playing 2 games in Detroit in just 4 days.
Well, I'll tell you this. If I were to say to you in a prop bet that Jacoby Brissett would have more passing yards than Josh Allen, that would probably be somewhere in the plus 200-300 range, maybe even 400 range, because it just doesn't seem like that would be humanly possible. But it did. Jacoby Brissett, 28 for 41, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns. Josh Allen, 18 for 27, 197 yards, 1 touchdown. The leading receiver, Ryan Dawson Knox, caught all 7 of his targets for 70 yards.
Yeah, no, if you had said that Brissett was going to throw for more than 100 yards than Josh Allen, I would say go get odds on that right now and put whatever you want on that, because there's no way that's going to hit. And yeah, no, crazy that's what happened, and yet still the Bills were able to get out of there with the win. The Browns were ready, even though Chubb. I mean, the story is Chubb only 14 carries for 19 yards for 1.4 yards a carry. That was not a good day for Chubb standards.
Not even close. And Amari Cooper on the other side, 8 catches, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So it was a good day for him in the receiving game. But yeah, I don't know. I know there's some books that actually give you a spread on passing yards. I don't know what the spread was on the Josh Allen, Jacoby Brissett, but I mean, it probably blew whatever that spread was out the window.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, craziness.
Yeah. I don't know. Does this mean the Bills are suspect going forward, or
the Bills are weird? The Bills have, I don't know, man. It's like they're just going through the motions. They know they can turn it on come January, but the problem is they don't have home field currently again. They got to go. I would not want to go back to Kansas City again.
Not even close. Not the way Kansas City's been playing lately. I mean, you
Yeah,
still
agree with you. Yep.
yeah. Last night, notwithstanding, we'll talk about that. It's still these guys. It's their division. It's their conference. To be honest with you, too. All right, 50.5 was the over under on this one. Obviously, blew past that one. And now it is 54 was the total. All right, let's move on. Las Vegas, the Raiders barely beating the Denver Broncos 22-16. Vegas 1.5 point underdogs, 2.5 points, depending on where you found it as well. But 6 points in the fourth quarter to get them over the hump and win against the Broncos. I'm sorry, in overtime, not the fourth quarter. In overtime, this was a thriller. But here's the thing. It's still the Raiders, and they still needed five periods of play to beat the Denver Broncos. Both teams now at 3-7.
Yeah, and if you're the Broncos, all you need is 18 points each game so far this year, and you'd be 9-1. Instead, you haven't got that 9 out of the 10 games, and you're 3-7. So, actually, that makes no sense. That was like Anchorman math right there on my part. Yeah, no, but the stat is if they had 18 points every single game, they'd be 9-1, which they have not done. So they're 3-7. Because this offense is atrocious with Russell Wilson. They can't block for him. They can't run the ball. They just released Melvin Gordon today. Just a train wreck of a year under Nathaniel Hackett in Denver this year.
How bad is it that you have to release Melvin Gordon, right?
Awful, man. I was like, yeah. For the Raiders, I mean, they found a way to get a win finally, get back to 3-7. It seems like the only team they can beat is the Broncos for some reason, other than maybe the Broncos are just atrocious. But Josh Jacobs, 24 for 109 on the ground. Devontae Adams, I don't know how you leave him that wide open at the end of the game. Who did you think he was going to throw to?
Like he was, and not just, I mean, he did pull a move, right? I mean, it was a nice move at the line of scrimmage, and it was pretty good to find the soft spot where they were at, but
where's the safety?
Somebody's got to have eyes on him, right? It's Devontae Adams, 141 yards on the day, 2 touchdowns on 7 catches, like making fantasy managers happy again. But yeah, you can't leave him that wide open at all.
Yeah, no, not good. That sums up Denver though this year. Year to forget they're a mile high. I mean, they're still a quarterback away, even with Russell Wilson, with all the assets that they gave up for him, Mr. High Knees.
Well, we talked about Melvin Gordon going out the door, right? But again, how much more insult to injury is it that Latavius Murray is still there and Melvin Gordon goes? I love Latavius Murray, don't get me wrong, but 17 carries, 49 yards. He had a long of 12. I mean, he did get in the end zone, but by the same token, 17 carries, 49 yards. That's I don't know. I mean, Anchorman math can't even get me how low that number is per carry.
Yeah, no, there's no math that can figure out this Denver offense. That's why it's got us both puzzled right now, trying to dive into their numbers. I have the analysis. They're bad offensively.
Analysis. Over under on this one, 41.5. Please tell me you bet the under, because that's the only number that would have made sense.
Yeah, even with the overtime, the over never in jeopardy.
Never in jeopardy. All right, let's move on. Both of these teams sinking sips. That's what they're doing. They're sinking sips. All right, let's move on to another sinking ship, the Viking ship.
This game.
How crazy. Okay, I know that the company motto is hashtag Dallas sucks, but boy, they did not suck this game. They go into Minnesota and just throttle the Vikings. 40-3, the final. I mean, you just want to talk about complete and total domination. Kirk Cousins, 12 completions, 105 yards. Just crazy. And Dallas, 2-point favorites on this one. I think they beat that spread, don't you?
Yeah. This was an ass kicking, and I feel like I've kind of been ahead of it with the Vikings in terms of I'm like, they're not as good as their record is. I keep saying that. Everybody's like, oh, you're just a hater. No, they're not that good, but they found ways to win close games, kind of like the Giants. But then, I mean, they were exposed beyond exposure yesterday. I mean, they couldn't block that Dallas defensive line. They had no chance of blocking Micah Parsons or Marcus Lawrence, that whole front. And it'll be interesting to see where Minnesota goes from here. Maybe this is just we come back down to earth after the Buffalo Miracle where Josh Allen fumbles the ball. Or maybe this turns into a slide. I think there's a chance it could be. I mean, no 8-1 team gets beat the way that they got beat.
No. And I mean, look, Micah Parsons, 2 sacks. Jerrion Kearse, 1 sack. Dorrance Armstrong, 2 more sacks. Dante Fowler, a sack in there. DeMarcus Lawrence, a sack. I mean, basically, you and I probably could have ran on the field and got a sack for
no
the
doubt.
Vikings. Yeah. Poor Kirk Cousins could not get established all day long. And then, of course, by proxy, Dalvin Cook, 11 carries, 72 yards. I mean, not a terrible day.
It's actually pretty good for the blowout standards.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not bad. But what hurts, you have a team, you have a receiving core that houses one of the most fantastic receivers we've seen in a while. And your leading receiver is your tight end that you just picked up, TJ Hawkinson, 5 catches, 34 yards.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Does day to forget in Minnesota. They got a quick turn. They got the Patriots coming into town for Thanksgiving.
Yep. Good day for Tony Pollard, though. Gigantic day for Tony Pollard. 15 carries, 80 yards, but 6 catches, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the Cowboys. Look, Cowboys are 7-3. They're making a charge again. There's no way that you can tell me that they're not a team on the rise and will make the power rankings going forward in our NFL Gambling Podcast power rankings.
Yeah, no, this defense is elite. That's their bread and butter. They're really good defensively, and they basically just say, hey, Dak, just manage the game. We're going to run the ball. And that's their blueprint why this team could be really good. And I hate to say it because Dallas does suck, but they are a contender in the NFC with how open it is.
They have to be at this point. I mean, I don't see a way. And just, I think really what you got to go back to before we move on is just the fact that Cooper Rush kept this ship afloat. If I continue to use naval analogies through the rest of this, they continue to keep this ship afloat. And honestly, you really have to give a lot of credit to what he was able to do to keep Dallas in contention right now for when Dak came back.
No, I agree with you. No, it's that's the blueprint of how they're good. Cooper Rush, those 5 games that Cooper Rush kept them in the hunt was how the Cowboys need to be to maximize their roster potential.
Yep. And again, it's just going forward, Dallas sucks.
Yes.
But with a caveat that they're actually, they suck okay.
Yeah, they're actually pretty good, unfortunately.
All right, let's talk about another team that is actually pretty good, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals, who hold on, Ryan, I'm telling you, hold on to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 37-30. I don't know that anybody expected 30 points out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but there they go, scoring 30 points. And so Cincinnati, 3.5-point favorites on this one. Obviously, they covered, but were it not for a drop touchdown by George Pickens, we could have been looking at a completely different game, maybe overtime, maybe whatever. But boy, I got to tell you, those Pittsburgh Steelers pretty feisty.
Yeah, if you had said before the game that the Steelers were going to score 30 points, I'd say, oh, they're going to win this game easily. I did not see this coming. This in terms of a shootout where this game it was cold, it was windy, but both offenses played well, and Burrow was slinging it. I mean, 355 through the air, 4 touchdowns, and Samaje Perine was really good in place of Joe Mixon late, and had a couple he had 3 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, again, it's amazing to me the feistiness out of this team, because obviously I didn't expect it, like you said, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just because it's a conference game or whatever, but like they really got up for it. And on a day, like you said, when Joe Burrow throws 4 touchdowns, you would think that you'd be smoking the Steelers, but no. Steelers fought back. Good day for T. Higgins. Right, 9 catches, 148 yards, No touchdowns, but that's still a pretty good day overall.
Yeah, and this is a game the Bengals needed. They needed to get to 7-3, or 7-4. Sorry, 6-4. I'm all over the place. 7-3 again. Yeah, they can get to 7-4 next week. They're 7-3 against the spread, 6-4 overall, because the Ravens are 7-3. So they need to stay within one game of Baltimore. So because they get ultimately at the end of the year, they get the final game in Cincinnati when Baltimore for the second game, where they already played in Baltimore won a thriller in I think it was week 5 at the time. So Cincinnati just needs to stay within striking distance.
Yes, sir. Over under on this one was 40 and a half. I'll give you a guess on which way this one landed. Almost. Yeah, I was going to say almost Cincinnati doing the over by themselves on this. So if you had it at 39 and a half, you almost got Cincinnati to cover by themselves. But again, Pittsburgh, they're going to continue to struggle, I think, even though they got it for this game. It'll be tough. You can't drop passes. You can't drop touchdowns. You really can't. And I feel bad. Pickens could have had that second one, but, whatever. All right, let's move on to the final game of the weekend before tonight's game, obviously, in Mexico City. It was the Kansas City Chiefs in a thriller coming back to beat the Los Angeles Chargers 30-27. Did not cover their 5.5-point spread or 7-point, depending on where you found it. I know it opened at 7, so if you had them at 7, and you were pretty heartbroken on that one. But if you had Chargers to cover, you were happy here. Ryan, listen, honestly, at this point, nothing Patrick Mahomes does should ever shock you, right?
No. I mean, the guy's an animal. There's no other way to handicap or to break down Patrick Mahomes other than he's a beast. 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns, just another day at the office for an elite future Hall of Famer. Every time these two teams get together, it seems like it's a classic. So the Chargers always get up to play the Chiefs, and they always find a way to lose by like a field goal in some crazy fashion. I don't know how you leave Travis Kelce that open down the stretch.
Maybe they were taking a page out of Devontae or the Broncos secondary at that point. They were like,
AFC West thing. Yeah,
it's got to be an AFC West thing. But look, as good as Mahomes was, the story to me was Pacheco. Like Isaiah Pacheco, the first Kansas City 100-yard rusher in over a year. Like, you got to go way back to, what was it, like week 4 of 2021, the last time they had a 100-yard rusher. But Pacheco finally does it. 15 carries, 107 yards. Dude looked like a beast. That number 10, he's doing it justice.
Yeah, where did he come from? I mean, 2 weeks ago, nobody had even heard of him, and now all of a sudden he's running for almost 100 yards. Last week against Jacksonville, he went for 80-plus yards. So shout out to Pacheco. He seems like it's just another element and another option for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Just what other AFC opponents wanted to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Well, given that CEH is not available, obviously with him coming in now and doing great things. I drafted him. I will say that I did draft him in a couple of leagues. So he was on my bench for the better part of the season and has been plugged in now given his success. But again, Travis Kelce doing Travis Kelce things, 6 catches, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns. But Joshua Palmer, you go ahead.
I was going to say, is it me or whenever they play in primetime, that's when Kelce has his best nights? He had the 4 touchdown game on Monday night, 3 on Sunday night last night. Or maybe they just play every week in primetime, and that's why he just keeps rolling.
He knows. You got to know. As a guy like that, I mean, look.
He's a beast. He's a
beast. And he knows. He knows on Monday night, or Sunday nights, on Monday nights, could even be a Wednesday night. Everybody's watching, and that's when he wants to put on a show. So Joshua Palmer, though, on the other side of the ball, not bad. 8 catches on 10 targets, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. I like what I'm seeing out of him on a day where they put Keenan Allen back on the field, but on a pitch count. So good things for him. Yeah,
and the Chiefs remain on the inside track to get that number 1 seed in the AFC with 7 games to go.
Yep, 8-2 they are now. Chargers fall to 5-5, essentially. Just hanging on to a prayer of some sort of wild card hopes in the AFC because everybody else is charging away from him at this point.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Every pun intended. All right. It is, as we wrap up the weekend, we're going to look ahead to week 13. Any final thoughts on our Sunday slate of games, Ryan?
No, I mean, we are 2/3 in, so headed into this last third of the year with Thanksgiving week. So this is when teams really pull away, and some teams will start quitting, and you'll be able to see that and handicap that going forward.
Yep. I mean, this is where you start to think about what's going to happen this next season if you're a team on the outside looking in, and start positioning yourself for the draft. I mean, nobody ever throws a game, but, come on.
Yeah.
Effort level, when you know.
Yeah, no, you're looking for the Arizona Cardinals of the world, where Cliff Kingsbury, everybody's seen the split where how good they are in the first half versus the second half. Now, the ironic thing is they have not been good this year in the first half. So does that mean that they're really, really bad in the second half? Or maybe it's reverse, but we'll find out. I know you don't want to hear that because that would mean that they probably pull the upset tonight, which I don't think is going to happen. I think the Niners are in good shape tonight.
We'll just say that the second half starts after this week, shall we?
There you go.
All right. Well, the next half of our show starts after this break, but let's tell you first about our Thanksgiving free roll. If you like Super Bowl squares, you're going to love what we've got on DGens on Thanksgiving, or for you DGens on Thanksgiving. Our friends at Play Action Pools have set us up with a football bingo contest for Thursday's slate. So simple to join and free to play in the SGPN app. Once you enter, you'll see your unique bingo card on your screen. Whenever a touchdown is scored on Thursday, check your card to see if you have that player. If you do, check the box. And if you get bingo, we're going to give you $100 in cash and a $100 SGPN gift card to go buy yourself an NFL gambling podcast coffee mug, hat, sweater. There's still a fantastic holiday sweater over there in the merch store to grab. So much to do. All you got to do now is download the app, play in the bingo contest for that Thanksgiving free roll contest. Ryan, as we do each and every week, we prognosticate not just next week, but 2 weeks out. And this week we are looking at the week 13 slate in the NFL. But of course, we tend to like to look back at how we've done going into this on the last time that we picked. So Ryan, update us on our look aheads from last week.
Yeah, so you guys probably, those watching on YouTube right now, saw me looking over a little bit downward to the right. I was checking the lines to make sure that our numbers were correct headed into this segment. We gave out the Bills minus 9.5. Actually, no value here. It's still at 9.5, but didn't lose it. We gave out the Vikings minus 3. They are 2.5. So, sorry, we gave out the Vikings minus 2.5. They're up to 3. So a critical number that we crossed there again to 3. So half-point value. This is the big one. We gave out the Chiefs minus 3. They are now minus 14.5 against the LA Rams. So more than 10 points of value there. So hopefully you got in on that, because I don't see the Chiefs not covering a field goal versus the Rams right now. We gave out the Panthers plus 3.5. They're down to plus 2.5. So a point there, cross over that 3 number. We gave out your Niners minus 4. They're up to 8.5 now against the Saints. And then Sunday night, last but not least, we gave out the Eagles as a pick'em minus 110. They are now 7-point favorite against the Green Bay Packers.
We called it. Did we not call that? We said that they were going to at least be touchdown favorites when it's all said and done. So fantastic stuff, man. This is why
Chiefs number is crazy.
That Chiefs number is nuts.
Yeah.
14 points now?
Yeah. 14.5.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to listen though, because I don't remember what we actually said, but I feel like we said something about this being double digits by the time it's said and done.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't see 14.5, but also I think the Cooper Kupp news really went into that number as well.
It had to have.
Yep.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and jump into our week 13 lines. And Ryan, I'm going to do like I always do and toss it to you. What are you seeing here that you want to jump on now?
I am going to start in Baltimore. They are only laying 1.5 points against the Denver Broncos, who can't score 18 points, as I said earlier in the podcast. I will take the Ravens minus 1.5. That thing will be around a touchdown come next week, I believe.
That's crazy. I saw the same thing. Obviously, we've been doing this long enough to we know where we're going to jump on. That is such a gigantic, crazy line for Baltimore to only be a point favorite in this one. So definitely like that one. All right, Ryan, I'm going to jump on our favorite Atlanta Falcons. They are a 1.5 underdogs right now to the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 13, or even 2.5 in some spots as well. I don't think they're going to stay that way. And I think that you can get them I think they're going to be favorites by the time this comes around next week, or next week even. I
Agreed.
don't think they're going to stay underdogs. So grab them now as underdogs. That way, when the line shifts and they're favorites, you still have the plus money on it, or the plus odds on it.
Yeah, no, that's an easy pick right there. For my next one, this one's easy as well. The Rams are laying 9.5 against the Seahawks. Are you kidding me? I will take the Seahawks. The Seahawks will be favored by the time that goes off. The Rams aren't favored against anybody. We just saw it shift about 11 points with the Chiefs. I think it'll shift about 11 points here, and the Seahawks will be favored come next week.
This one perplexes me the most. I mean, when you look, and in some spots, it's 10.5 points for Seattle. Did you say 9.5 or 10.5?
Yeah, no, I see 10.5. Yeah, so we'll give it 10.5. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, 10.5 is
wow.
crazy. I don't think you're ever going to get that next. Maybe even at the end of this week, you may not find that again. That's nuts. So yeah, definitely want that. All right. Well, you know what? I'll go ahead and toss out your Washington Commanders. They are a point underdog to the Giants, and in some cases, it's a pick 'em. So I would grab that now. I know that the Washington is 6-5, and New York is 7-3, but I don't see why Washington should be an underdog in this, given the fact that they are on a roll, and the Giants, we talked about just a minute ago, not necessarily on the highest of highs.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm with you. I'll go to a game that I really like too, Sunday night. We touched on with Dallas. They're only laying 2.5 against the Indianapolis Colts at home. So I'll take the Cowboys minus 2.5 there. I think that thing will be close to 10 by kickoff.
Yeah, I don't see that sticking around there either. All right. I think last one to me, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Last
Finish
one to
off
me.
the 6-pack.
Let's finish off the 6-pack. Ooh, I like the way that sounds. Hey, kids are on vacation. I can do that now. I'll probably hit one up as soon as we're done here. All right. I'm going to just finish it off with that last game of the weekend too, or not the last game, but the last game of the Sunday afternoons. It's Kansas City, Cincinnati. It's a pick 'em.
Yeah.
In some spots. And Cincinnati's a point underdog in others. We just saw what Kansas City did against the Chargers. Give me the Kansas City side of this, because in a pick 'em, I mean, obviously I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs to win, and even still at -1 point, I think they're going to be at least 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe. So if you got them at 1.5, that's much better than 6.5.
Yeah, no doubt. This is an easy one as well. Anytime you can get the Chiefs as a pick 'em, you pounce on that right away.
Indeed. So again, you're just not going to find that. I want to hurry up and fast forward to next Monday so we can see where we sit on these ones, because a lot of these ones seem like some really outrageous lines.
Yeah, no, they're slow to move these numbers. They usually wait till about probably Thursday this week, and then they'll really adjust the numbers, if not Wednesday.
Well, there you go. So check back on Wednesday and see how we've done. Let us know in the NFL gambling podcast. I keep calling you guys by the wrong name. I'm sorry. I'm not thinking of my other when I'm with you guys. I'm literally thinking of you. The NFL gambling podcast Twitter. Make sure you let us know. And look, if you've managed to pounce on some of these lines, and if you become a look aheader with us, let us know. I mean, join the Discord. Let us know. Get in here on the chats and talk to us about it, because we want to know if it's working for you. Because if it's working for you, we'll just keep going.
No doubt.
Or if not, we'll adjust, because this is just something new we're trying.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, all right. Well, Ryan, I believe we've well and thoroughly recapped everything and gotten everything out of the way. So why don't we go ahead and wrap things up by letting everybody know where they can find you on social media.
For those watching on YouTube, you can see our Twitter handles right there. Mine is Moneyline_Mac. I'm in the Discord as well. Hit me up anytime. I love hearing from our audience, and I'm on the college basketball experience every night around midnight my time, 9 Rod's time. So yeah, college hoop season's full effect. I come in every now and then on the propcast with Moonoff if Rod needs a hand. So, but yeah, no, those are my main platforms, and of course the NFL Gambling Podcast, where J Mark and I will be doing it tomorrow instead of Wednesday with the holiday on Thursday.
Indeed. Make sure you enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. And look, we know that it's different for everybody, but however you manage to enjoy your day of thanks, please do so. And make sure that it involves plenty of football. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. There's a link in the bio to everything I've got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review, whether it's in between media, whatever it is. Link in the bio at RJ Villagomez on Twitter. Get in that Discord, sg.pn/Discord. There's an NFL channel, and it's all for you, and it's all for us. So let's have some fun together. All right, everybody, enjoy a week of football. Enjoy Monday Night Football if you're watching or if you listen to this early. My Niners going to whoop up on some Cardinals. So until next time, everybody, let it ride.